welcome back to Behind the Bowl. My name is Brian, Director of E-commerce here at Almost Pride, and I am joined by Chris Whatling. Chris, did I butcher your last name? Is that correct?
No, you actually got it right. No, yeah,
Really?
you did.
What do you hear?
Yeah.
What do you hear a lot of? Is it like Watling? What do you?
Waitling, Waterly, yeah, all sorts of different things. And yeah, a lot of people call me like my nickname, which is Watters. Like a lot of my friends and family don't even call me Chris, they call me Watters. So I get called all sorts. So whatever.
Waters? Okay. All right. Well, Chris, explain to everyone. We're meeting in an elevator. What do you do? Where are you from? Give me an elevator pitch. We're going from the lobby all the way up to the 15th floor. What do we got?
Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Chris. I'm the founder and MD of the Animal People Recruitment Company. So I founded the company 3 years ago. I've been in the recruitment industry for over 11 years, but I've been recruiting into niche animal related industries for the past 7. And 3 years ago, I decided to launch the Animal People after building some momentum on LinkedIn with a lot of businesses that I was recruiting for. And the business is set up to solely offer the pet, animal health, and veterinary industry a niche recruitment partner to help them fill all their roles that helps that business function. So everything from administrative all the way to head of global operations. Lots of clients will come to us for niche roles like in-house vets, in-house nutritionists, you name it, whatever that business has in its business to work, we recruit for it. So it could be a pet food brand, it could be a pet toy accessory, it could be a piece of veterinary equipment, it could be a pharmaceutical brand. Anything that has a product or service that betters the life of animals, we recruit for those businesses.
Oh, that's fantastic. And are your services strictly in the UK, or do you kind of offer other regions?
Yeah, so it started off just in the UK, then spread into mainland Europe with a lot of those clients. And then we started to get some really exciting inquiries from the US and Canada and started to recruit now for a lot of those brands that are based out in the US or Canada, the likes of Earth Rated or Kong, that have either got teams already that are in the UK or are wanting a consultative service to help them launch those teams in the UK. So we've started off with either head of sales or a MD for a UK arm of the brand, and that's where it's grown. So when we went over to global recently, we've had lots of requests to help US brands and Canadian brands. So we're just going to see where it goes.
That's awesome. I mean, I actually kind of makes sense to have this conversation now. We're in the process of so the way we acquire customers, obviously, is someone lands on our website, right? So I'll give you a quick story before we
Mhm.
dive into it. Almost Pride, fourth generation, family owned and operated company. We're bootstrapped. There's no VC money. We've been producing on the same family farm since the 1950s.
Uh-huh.
And back then, we were a poultry farm. So we
Mhm.
had thousands of turkeys on the property.
Mhm.
And we sold direct to local grocery stores and
Mhm.
then expanded throughout New England. And then in the 1990s, the second generation owner, Oma, was the great grandmother. Sandy was her daughter. And in the 90s, her dog was getting very sick, getting old, getting sick, and had all your symptoms that you would normally see in a older dog.
Mhm.
And she was looking outside of her farm window and saw wolves that were eating animal carcasses. And she was like, you know what? Something's to be said about this. These wolves are active, they're running, they're living their best life, and all they're eating are animal carcasses. So let me give this a shot, right? So this was in the early to mid 90s, the way that the family remembers it. And since they were a poultry farm, obviously, she started giving her dog turkey necks and different types of raw meaty bones. And next thing you knew, her and her husband concocted these raw recipes, and her dog within 30 days was like a puppy again. So she's like, something's to be said about this. Let me start going to local shows, right? So packed up coolers in her car, started selling them at local shows. People are like, who is this crazy lady? Like pulling in on a Harley Davidson, just an absolute nut job. And next thing you knew, that's how Oma's Pride started, right? So we started as a family poultry farm and then transitioned to pet food in the 90s. So long story short, we're revolutionizing our website, right? We have a really cool family story. We've been around longer than anyone else when it comes to raw pet food, but it was a really small family business. And then I joined, took over e-commerce, trying to really like broaden and amplify the story, right? Because
Hmm.
a lot of times this is a really cool product you'll see, this is a really cool story, this is a really cool technology, and there's no one behind it to really amplify it and get it out there. So
Hmm.
we're in the process of when we acquire a new customer, putting together like a nutritional guide, nutritional plan for them when they sign up for a subscription. So that is something within the next 1 to 2 months that we'll be looking for in order to hire certified animal nutritionists, right? And
Hmm.
so I guess this is a question for you. So I'm a company, we're Almost Pride. We're looking for an animal nutritionist to join our team.
Yeah.
I contact you. What are the next steps here that I would need to take?
The next steps is really get to know each other, get to know the business. So we would either come on site with a lot of our clients or set up video calls so that we can understand the business, its culture, its history, its people, its mission, just so that we can effectively go out to market and really sell your brand. Because recruitment's not just about finding the right person for the brand. When you're working in such a niche and small industry that it can be in the pet industry, even though it's huge and it's global, it still is a small industry in many ways. So it's
Sure.
very, very important that whoever we encounter when we're recruiting, that we really do deliver that brand message for our clients properly. Because if that person's not right for your role, it doesn't mean that they're not right to be your customer. So we want to make sure that everyone has a great experience with, owners or with the animal people. So yeah, it's that's the first thing, is just to get to know one another and really understand your business, your culture, your vision, and the role, of course, and get into the nuts and bolts and gritty bits of that. And once we've done that, I guess, is that what you're wanting to know? The next steps of how we go about it and what we
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Run me through the gauntlet here.
Yeah, no problem. So, first things first, really, is marketing the role. So, we market the role and bring the role to life with various different advertisements on various different job boards. But the main thing that we have is a unique network and a unique database of candidates that I've spent the last 11 years cultivating. Our database has 10,000 plus people on it. And how we're getting those people to us and register with us? Well, we invest a lot of time and funds into exhibiting at all the industry shows. So we have booths at different things like London Vet Show, Crufts, which is a massive dog show here in the UK, the pet industry specific show like PATS. We also travel globally to places like Interzoo, Global Pet, in Super Zoo, you name it, we're there, meeting the people and spreading the word about how great these industries are to work in and how we can help those people. So that's where all our people come from, our network, our time, and our effort that we put into finding them. And then what we start by doing is marketing the role out to our networks and telling everyone that we know about how great it is. And we do that with our advertisements and also just reaching out to the people that we know. And then it's our job just to talk to everyone, really get to know who the people are behind the CVs. We headhunt on every single role. So if we don't know a candidate, we will go out and we'll find them, primarily using LinkedIn. And we have some really great tech that I had built for the company that enables us to headhunt candidates in the right way. Recruiters sometimes they can get a bad rep, can't they? Because there's not always that many great ones out there. And I get it, I hear it all the time. So I take real pride in our processes and how we treat people. And headhunting, we do that well. We do it with video tech. So, say for instance, Brian, you were a candidate of ours and we wanted to approach you for a role. We would send you a tailored video message that would be us scrolling through your profile, explaining why we've contacted you for the role so that you've got a great experience from the offset and you're going to obviously want to talk to us. So that's how we headhunt. And then obviously all the network that we already have and the advertisements that we put out. Once we've got all of that information in the candidates, it's our job, and it takes a long time, just literally picking up the phone, talking to people, understanding what their motivators are, what their passions are, why they're interested in the role. And we just need to shortlist them from that point onwards to find out who are the best people that are a right fit for the role, but also for the company and the vision that you've got moving forward. And once we've done that and we've shortlisted, we present our candidates to our clients on a talent dashboard, and that comes through to them on video, where you'd have video insight into each candidate. You can see us interviewing the candidate. It gets a bit more complicated at us at this point, because that's where we tailor our package to our customers. So it might be that we want to take over the whole of the process from you and interview candidates with questions that you've provided. There's loads of different options that we have, but in short, and it's difficult to get across on a podcast, but is that we just really are there as an extension of our clients' HR teams. We really get under the skin of the companies that we're working with.
Sure.
Because we're industry specific, we really understand the nuances and what's so special and great about working in these industries. And we've got our clients back to help them make the right decisions, because, it's so important to get the right person in seat, because the wrong person can be very costly. And yeah, that's a
That's
little bit of an insight.
wow. That's fantastic to hear. I mean, we've worked not when I was just here, but with other companies in the past. You work with recruitment agencies, and a lot of the
Mhm.
times your retention's not great on them, right? So the process isn't like what you have explained here, and
Yeah.
that's great to hear, because at the end of the day, when we're ready to hire our animal nutritionist, it's not a short term hire, right? It's not someone that we want to just bring in for 6 months. It's someone that we
That's
want to be a part of the team, right? So you want and I'm assuming your retention rates are relatively high after you just explained all of that to me.
They are.
Uh,
Don't ask me to pull off my stats, but they are on our website, animalpeoplerecruitment.com, and they are because of the processes that we put people through. But also, I'd like to mention that it's also of a benefit to the candidate, because I believe that CVs on their own are dangerous.
mm,
I think that there's no context behind them. People draw their own conclusions, whether it be an internal recruiter, a hiring manager, or whoever it may be that's looking at that person. They don't know anything about how that person feels or what passion they've got from reading something on paper. I mean, you can write it in words, but it's hard to really take that on sometimes as a person reading the CV. So how we present candidates enables a candidate to really get that across on video and just tell that hiring manager, look, see me, I've got this want, this desire, this need, this passion for your brand and what you do, and I can add value. So yeah, it works both sides.
that's fantastic. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's true. And if just because I want every time I go on LinkedIn, I feel like I'm always seeing someone within the pet industry, obviously, that is either open for work or just got laid off or is looking for
Mhm.
a job. So I want to put this out there for them when they're hearing this. What are the best things that they can do to put themselves in a position to either become a part of your outreach and your umbrella, or to put
Mhm.
themselves in the best position to get a job?
Okay, two things. So if you're the best thing I feel, obviously, and I'm going to be biased because I'm in the recruitment industry, but I feel that it's really important that you use a recruiter that really cares, gets, and understands you. There'll be so many people that don't, you won't click with. It's just the same as any other thing in life. You will be some people that you just don't gel with. So make sure that if you are looking for a job and you want to use the service of a recruiter, that you really click with that person, they gel and they understand you, and they're going to champion you basically.
Sure.
And anyone that is in the pet industry and is looking for some advice, please reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm sure you'll put my details at the end
Yeah,
of this, or my
absolutely.
company, animalpeoplerecruitment.com. But my advice, from someone who has used LinkedIn as a tool to basically really springboard my entire career from my personal brand that I built on there. The day that I launched the Animal People Recruitment Company, all I did was put a logo out there, and countless requests came in off the back of my reputation in recruitment. So,
Wow.
um, my advice to anyone is to be authentic on LinkedIn, be who you really are as a person, show your passion, make sure that there's so many great LinkedIn trainers and people that will even train you on how to put your profile together and your personal brand together. I'd make sure that you seek out that advice from those type of companies that do offer that service. But it's just a case of being in the right groups on LinkedIn, being with the right networking with the right people, sending people direct messages. If you've got someone in a role that is in a role that you look at and you aspire to be like, drop them a message, ask them how they got there. But first things first is have the right profile that represents you as a person, what you're looking for. Don't be, it's simple things. It's like having the right photograph on there. I mean, mine is like, it pretty much screams like what I'm like. I'm a dog lover. I've got my dog Rodney in my picture. I'm very clear of what I'm about. My tagline is shaking up recruitment in the pet, animal health, and veterinary industries. I tell a bit of my story in my profile. All my career and my jobs are laid out properly. I've got loads of recommendations at the bottom, which are walking testimonials from people and brands that I've helped. So just utilize LinkedIn. It is literally like your living, breathing CV. And I
Yeah.
think people forget that. That's what it is. It's your own mini website. It's a chance for you to really show people I'm not just what I say I am on paper. Look, everyone else is saying this as well.
Yeah.
You know?
I
So
agree. I agree. And LinkedIn is, I feel like it used to be thought of as this thing that you had to have in order to seem professional, right? It used to be
yeah,
one of those platforms years ago where it's like, oh yeah, all right, I guess I gotta make a LinkedIn, right? Where I'm
yeah.
looking for a job, I guess I gotta make a LinkedIn. Where I've found, especially over these past few months, going piggybacking off of what you said in regards of being yourself on LinkedIn, really showcasing who you are, the talents that you have, the
hmm
people that you've met, the places that you've worked, like encapsulating that within your LinkedIn profile is huge. And like I'm not afraid now. Obviously, that's it's my job. I the most outgoing person I think I've ever met. But like
Yeah.
posting content, right? Like
Yeah.
there's or whatever's on your mind, or if you succeeded at something at work, like let's just spotlight that on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn now is more so turning over into a social platform today
Yes.
than it was viewed a couple years ago, where it was just too businessy and too
Yeah.
professional. And that's why I love LinkedIn, you
Me
know?
too. And I think it's a really powerful thing. There's a movement that's happening with it at the moment. Like you said, it's becoming more of a social tool. And I've seen your content. I think it's great. And I try to show up authentically to the platform. I think a lot of people are really frightened to do the same. And I understand because a lot of the population are not working in supportive environments where they're encouraged to be themselves
Yeah,
and are able to. So if
agreed.
people that are like myself are able to do that and empower others to do the same, I wasn't always able to do that. I've worked for some absolutely horrid bosses in the past, like some people that Jesus, I would not go near ever again. But I've learned from those, jobs that I've had. So yeah, I always try to show up to the platform as my authentic self, talk
Yeah.
about things that I'm passionate about. Um, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is just
Yeah.
be yourself on the platform and don't be afraid. There's too much BS around what it is to be the perfect employee, and I don't
Yes.
think people realize. And that LinkedIn can also be a bit toxic because there's quite a lot of you have to be this certain entrepreneurial person to be
Mm,
amazing at life, and you don't. Some people just want to show up to work and just do their job and do it well and go home. There's nothing wrong with
yes.
that either. So I
Yes.
think we need to normalize what work is on LinkedIn a bit more as well, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do.
I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And it's like, when you grow up as a kid, we have the same mindset where it's like, oh, we can't do this or we can't show this because it may hurt us in getting a job, right?
hmm
And that's where the posting mentality on LinkedIn is people are afraid to be themselves on LinkedIn because
hmm
they're afraid it's going to hurt them in getting a job in the future. Or if they're looking for a job, I can't post this. I can't really be myself. When on the flip side of it, it's if a company's not going to hire you because of who you are, then you're probably being hired by the wrong company, right? You're probably
Yeah.
working for the wrong person.
Yeah.
So that's yeah, I'm a huge proponent on letting people express themselves and be who they are on LinkedIn, because at the end of the day, it's you know if you're on LinkedIn because you want to get a job and because you want to be out there and network, you want to be yourself on it because you don't want to have to go through life like you mentioned. I'm the same way. I've had some really shitty bosses. I
Yeah.
don't I don't want to have to repeat that process because I've been afraid to be myself, right? Um,
Exactly. Yeah. Totally
so yeah,
agree.
it's yeah, I'm a huge LinkedIn fan. What is your when you grew your own personal brand, because I think this is also another thing to that I wanted to touch base with you on is
hmm
especially in the pet industry, there's a lot of people that are building their own brand on social, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, etc. And it's really hard. A lot of people find it very difficult, which it is, to take your
hmm
personal brand and actually turn it into a business. It's
Mm.
very hard, right? I mean, there's only so many courses that you can sell online before people are like, all right, there's only so much, apparel and swag that you can throw a logo on or your
Mm.
brand on and sell it. So taking your personal branding that you've built, the following that you've built, like I said, whether it's on LinkedIn or TikTok or Instagram, what are some ways people can take that personal brand and work towards actually putting it into a business form?
Good question. Mine's a bit, I don't know if this is going to answer it in the way that you want, but mine's a bit different because I was already in recruitment. I've been in
Hmm.
recruitment for 11 years and I'd recruited for every single business that you could imagine, from anything from companies that made gates to photocopiers to whatever, and like all the roles that those businesses had. But it got to a point where I was not interested in what those businesses did. They weren't my passion.
Mm,
And I knew that recruitment was my passion because I loved the process and I loved people and helping people get into new jobs. But I wasn't inspired by the industries that I was recruiting in. That's when I started recruiting for veterinary practices because I thought, right, they are a business just like anything else, but I'm ultimately interested in what that business does. I love animals. I always have as a kid. I was fascinated by veterinary programs and I wanted to be part of it, but I wasn't smart enough to be a vet. So yeah, I fell into recruitment like a lot of recruiters do. So I thought, what can I do to, so I started off before I went, I started off just wanting to break down barriers and perceptions in recruitment, really, because there were so many people that showed up on LinkedIn or as recruiters to clients as this typical, suit and tie wearing, I'm this, I'm great, and salesy approach, which was never mine. And I started off by just showing up authentically and just talking about my things that interested me, or telling my following about what had frustrated me about, hiring managers or candidates or whatever it may be. And then I started talking about my passion, which was animals, and different products that I was using, and including my dog in my photos. And so, my advice to anyone that is wanting to launch a personal brand, what is that? What is that about? What is your personal brand?
mm,
I knew mine was that I wanted to be honest, kind, inclusive, but also wanted to work in industries that are bettering the lives of animals.
sure.
So you have to, if you are working, say you love, you are a marketer, but you're working for a brand that you don't necessarily believe in, what's your passion? Can you put your skill set into a company where you're passionate about what its product is? If you're a finance manager and you're working in a business that makes bricks for building sites, but you're not really passionate about those, but you love, love, love aquatics, why don't you look at becoming a finance manager in aquatics brand? So that's why I called the company the Animal People, because I think if you're an animal person and you are working in a business that is better in the lives of animals, that's going to drive you and make you better at your job no matter what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think I've
absolutely.
long-winded
No, absolutely it
answered
does.
that. Yeah.
Speaking of the animal people, I love your logo. I
Oh,
love it.
thanks.
I love
It,
it.
well, I quickly did it with a designer who did it and sent it over to me and then launched it. It all happened so quick. I was like, what am I doing? Right. Okay. I'm launching a business. My business partner, Sarah, will say the same. I remember doing it 3 years ago. And we were like, right, which one do we pick? That one. Yeah, great. I pick it apart all the time. I'm like, oh,
I know. Well, especially out here, there's so in Connecticut, we're in the insurance capital of the world, and all these insurance companies in Hartford, which is our capital. Um,
yeah.
and some of these companies are spending hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on their logo, and it's like you paid $1 million for an umbrella, like I could have did that, it's an umbrella,
Yeah. Yeah. Madness. Yeah. It's crazy. But
But no, I think this is all good stuff, and I think like I said, I'm a huge proponent in connecting. I think connecting is huge, and you can't really connect on any other platforms within your industry like you can on LinkedIn, right? YouTube's great for entertainment. I love following my YouTube
mm,
accounts. I love
mm,
scrolling and swiping through Instagram and TikTok for
mm,
an early morning or late night giggle. Like I love
yeah.
all that stuff, but Twitter's a place where I can, you and I reached out. Hey, let's
Hmm.
want to hop on the podcast? Yeah, let's do it. You
That's
can't
it.
you can't really do that on any other platform. So the whole connecting piece and bringing people together like fascinates me with LinkedIn.
I think
Fascinates me.
that, yeah, me too, definitely. But I think there's a lot of people that have LinkedIn accounts that shouldn't really have them, because what's the point, or what? And you get rejection a lot in any form of sales, which recruitment is, I get that. But I think a lot of people will not have the time of day for people that basically are reaching out to want to help or
Sure.
want, and people are quite rude, especially in companies. I think a lot of people that are in owners of companies, and they realize how people are acting to others that are interested in their company ultimately, if they're contacting them, are not answering or replying. I think it can be quite dangerous. So I think if you have a LinkedIn account, you really need to make the effort to reply to people that are reaching out to you, because you'd soon be crying if no one was reaching out to you on there. So
Correct.
appreciate the people that are interested in you. And going back to your earlier question, like what did I do at the beginning? I was sending voice notes to connections that had been kind enough to accept my connection, just saying, thanks for connecting. If I can ever help, hit me up. That's all, just being courteous, kind. I was quite targeted with some responses and sending video messages to brands that I really wanted to work with. But yeah, just use the network, like
Yeah.
use what the platform is.
I
Message
hear
people back if they're being kind to you. Just be kind to people.
I
There's
hear
not a lot
you.
of kindness on the internet nowadays.
No, there's really not. And it's and like your point, there's like the CEO of a nine-figure company, uh, has their Facebook private. They don't have an Instagram.
Hmm.
All their contacts coming through the company website. But then
Hmm.
again, they want to create their own personal LinkedIn profile to sort of like have that like status of, oh, the CEO of this company is on LinkedIn, right? Well, that's not the
Yeah.
point. That's not the point of LinkedIn for it to be a showcase or trophy case, right? Um,
No,
and that's the part that
exactly.
that's the part that frustrates me too. I'm like, oh my, why do you even have one, dude? You shouldn't even have one.
And I think so many people that own companies are really frightened of like their staff talking on LinkedIn and letting them. They have policies where they're like silenced almost. They're not allowed to
Yeah.
say post this, not allowed to post that. And I
Yep.
get it. There's got to be rules and regs around certain topics and things that you want to talk about. But at the end of the day, if you don't trust people to post appropriately on LinkedIn, then why have you employed them in the first place?
No, agreed. Agreed. What?
And used correctly, it will generate customers for you anyway. But hey.
Yeah. Hey, you know. But what's your? Would you say vets or the vet clinic industry is your number one business right now in terms of who you recruit for?
No, it would be the pet industry. So there's pretty much no brand out there that I haven't worked with in the UK or attempted to work with in the UK. I've worked with all the big names that you would walk into a pet store pretty much. I'm not going to be that cocky actually to say all, but pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I've had
I've
dealings.
worked with all of them. No big deal.
All of them. I know everything. Yeah, I am the oracle of the pet industry. No, I'm not. I'm not. But I have worked with a lot of brands
That's
in the
great.
pet industry, and there's not a lot of ones that I, yeah, wouldn't want to work. There's a few that I obviously wouldn't want to work with, or I've tried, but for the most part, yeah, it's an amazing industry to be in. And then I would say next is the animal health. Brands. So a lot of the pharmaceutical brands that you would have the drugs that we prescribe to our pets. We recruit
Okay.
for those roles in those businesses, and then
Okay.
after that, the veterinary brands. So when I say veterinary, it is normally for us to recruit for the veterinary clinic for their back office support staff or any products or services that would be used by the vets in this. So it could be a piece of endoscopic equipment or scissors or
Gotcha.
anything that vet surgery has. We
Okay.
don't recruit for vets to work in clinical practice. So we wouldn't, if we get inundated with requests from veterinary clinics to find them vets here in the UK, but there's a massive shortage. I could talk to you about that all day long, but there's no vets here, and it's
Really?
very difficult. So it's not something that we specialize in, but can
What's
always
your
put someone in touch with someone who does though.
I mean, you have to have one. What's your favorite position to fill, or your favorite position that that you enjoy the most? Do you have one?
Uh, Do you know, I don't really. As long as I I really enjoy the sales roles. I really like to see um, given the right person that we place into businesses, what they do for that company and how they improve the sales within a business. I love marketing and creative roles. We're getting quite a lot of social ones come up. I also love the senior hires, like MD level,
Yep.
heads of sales, heads of marketing. But I
Okay.
think anything that's creative or sales, I love that. But then I also love the really niche roles like the nutritionists or in-house vets, because I've got a network of people that it is a very niche, small part of the population that do that job, and they're
Yeah.
hard to find. So I really do cultivate that network and have some contacts that I don't
That
think a
was
lot of people have got.
that was a good slide in there because you knew we were looking for a nutritionist. So you're like, you know what, I'm gonna just gonna throw in nutritionists in there to really light them
I
up a
actually
little bit.
forgot. I got ahead like a sieve. No, but yeah, I'd find it hard to choose a role. The only roles that we don't actually recruit for are IT based roles,
Okay.
because that is like, you might as well be talking
Different
Martian to
beast.
me. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I'm the
yeah,
same way. Yeah, I have no idea what's
yeah.
going on there. No. And
I'm
and
like,
it's
what the hell?
when something comes across and we're, issue with the website or whatever, I'm like, hey, we got two guys that do a fantastic job here. I literally just
Yeah.
take here you go. You got to I don't no idea what I'm looking at, you know.
Yeah.
Um
But you know, I
but
love as well. Another role that I really love doing is like when brands will come to me and they want like a vet to be the face of the brand, and they want them to also give like nutritional advice or help them build that brand. A lot of D2C brands will do that, and they want to have someone to really champ. I love doing those. So I just like
sure.
working with vets. I love what they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we only have a few minutes left, but I'm a huge, because I wanted to ask this question. I'm a huge
Hmm.
social media guy. Love social
Hmm.
media. I think especially now with all the emerging pet D2C brands,
Hmm.
even now retail brick and mortar stores, because it's
Hmm.
obviously very hard to compete with the big box brands, bring people in.
Hmm.
Have you noticed a larger hiring spree within like social media managers or
Yeah.
within marketing in pet than you noticed a couple years ago?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely have social media content creators. That's what we've been doing a lot of over the last few months. Yeah, and a lot of D2C brands that are wanting that, and a few accessory brands, but mostly in food is what we've seen. Yeah,
That's and
big
it's
time.
pretty crazy to think about too, because like when I was in college, or you guys in the UK call it university, is that what you guys call it?
University, yeah, I didn't go, but yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I went so I went to be a gym teacher, physical education,
Yeah, cool.
and not doing that, but um,
Yeah.
when
Had
I
a
when
good
I
time though.
had a great time, I drank too many beers, had too much fun, and cost me $200,000, so no, but I guess what I'm saying is, which is pretty crazy, is Instagram first came out when I was in college, right? And it wasn't
Mhm.
it wasn't as big as it was today, but everyone got addicted to social media. Everyone was on Facebook, Instagram. And back then, you really weren't able to have like the dream of, hey, I'm going to post on this platform for a living for the rest of my life. And that was just, not even 15 years ago, 13 years ago. And now it's you can have your cell phone in your hand and make a living off of creating content and posting it. And that like blows my mind,
I
because
know.
now like that, especially, within pet, there's only so many big companies out there that can afford ad dollars for commercials or for traditional advertisement, right? You have to go the social media route. That's where all your customers are. That's the way to, really acquire people at cost. So that way you can,
Mhm.
still make a living. And it just blows my mind that, you know, in 2024, you can make a living making videos and editing pictures and creating
Oh,
captions and posting it on social media networks. Blows my
and
mind.
it and mine, but it is such a skill set.
It
It
is.
really is a skill set. Like I don't know, I'm 40 next year, and I've considered myself to be really quite good on social media. But I've really noticed over the last year, real advancement in these apps and how to create reels and all these different things that you can do with it to make your social media look amazing. And that is a skill set that is worth paying for, because it takes time and creativity and effort and knowledge. And yeah, it's but yeah, I'm mixed on how I feel about social media. I'm
Yeah.
like, I
I
look
know.
around like at
I know.
Global Pet Expo. I went to one of the theme parks in Orlando, and I looked around, and everyone was just like constantly on their phone. I was like, where's the joy in
What's
life
going
gone?
on? I
What
know.
is
I
going
know.
on?
It's got
It's mad.
its ups and downs. But before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
I just want to put out you are 39 years old.
Yes.
You look
Yeah.
fantastic for 39 years
Ah,
old. I
thanks.
was I'm sitting here, right? I'm only a few years behind you, but I'm sitting here. I'm going to take my headset off real quick. I got no hair left. I got
Yeah,
nothing.
you look good though. You
I
look
know.
good.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
would not look good with no hair. You look good. It
But I'm
suits you.
like, wow, 39. This guy's got a full head of hair. I'm sitting here bald as a cue ball, you know?
Listen, if I lost my hair just because of my face, it wouldn't suit me. I'd be on a first. There's a joke over here in the UK about everyone goes to Turkey for new teeth and new hair transplant. I'll be
Yeah,
on that plane.
that is a big
Gone.
thing now, huh? In Turkey,
Yeah,
the hair.
everyone.
I actually, but speaking of social media, I was targeted an ad for hair loss, and I'm like, first of all, I am your whoever compiled all the data to send this ad to me. Hell of a job because I am your ideal client. So I'm sitting there on the couch, right? So I get targeted this ad, and I turn to my wife and I'm like, babe, we're going to Turkey. I go, what?
It's
I go, look
brilliant.
at this. I can get 50% off today if I fly to Turkey and get hair put on my head. But no, that's just
I I had the same for like compression vests to like stop the man tum and stuff. I was like, I actually need this thing, and I found myself in like a hole of almost buying it with Apple Pay. I was like, what am I doing? Like,
I know it's so easy to just buy anything right now, right?
I know.
But no, listen,
Yeah.
Chris, it's been a pleasure. It really has. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And then, before we head out here, I just want to let everyone know, Chris, let the people know where to find you, where to go if they're looking for either help within their company or they're a future employee that wants help moving forward.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. You can find us at animalpeoplerecruitment.com, or you can find us the same on our LinkedIn company page, which is the Animal People Recruitment Company, or you can find me, which is at Chris Whatling.
Awesome. Awesome. Chris,
Right.
it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate it. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for inviting me on. Had a great time.
Hey, absolutely. We'll talk soon.
Cheers. See ya.
Take care. Cheers.
Bye bye.